I was in the kitchen preparing Sunday dinner when I heard my daughter Jessica's voice coming from the living room. She was on the phone with someone. Her tone was one of pure irritation, the same one she used when she complained about overdue bills. But this time, the subject was me. This old woman is nothing but trouble. I can't stand having her here in the house anymore. You have no idea how much she gets in the way of everything. Mark has said 1,000 times that he wants her out of here for good. I felt my hands start to tremble uncontrollably. The wooden spoon I was holding fell to the floor with a sharp clatter. I just stood there, completely unable to move, while my heart hammered inside my chest. Jessica kept talking on the phone, having no idea that every word was causing me profound pain. I, who raised that girl alone after her father abandoned us when she was just 3 years old. I, who worked 3 jobs at the same time to pay for her college education. I, who spent sleepless nights by her bedside when she was sick, praying for her to get better. Now, I was just this old woman who is nothing but trouble. I did not say anything to anyone. I did not confront her. I did not scream. I returned to my room at the back of the house in absolute silence. I closed the door slowly, so as not to make a sound, and I knelt beside the bed. God, give me the strength to understand what is happening to me. Show me the path I must follow. I cried softly, muffling my sobs in the pillow, afraid that someone would hear me and make more jokes about the weepy old woman. That night, when everyone was asleep, I looked out my bedroom window and saw my whole life flash before my eyes. I had worked as a maid, a cook, a seamstress, a nanny, anything to give Jessica a better future than the one I had. And now, at 68 years old, I discovered that I had become a burden in the very house I had bought with my own sweat. But what they did not know was that everything was about to change. I got up early on Monday, as always. I prepared breakfast for the whole family. Scrambled eggs for Mark, a banana smoothie for Jessica, pancakes for Lily, my 12-year-old granddaughter. Everything was served with a smile that was getting harder to maintain each day. Jessica came downstairs staring at her cell phone, as usual. She did not even look up when I put the plate in front of her. "Mom, this smoothie is too thick. Can you not get it right just once?" I swallowed hard. I took a deep breath. "I am sorry, honey. Should I add more milk?" "Forget it. I do not have time anymore." She grabbed her purse and left without saying goodbye. Mark followed her without a word. Not a good morning. Not a thank you for breakfast. Nothing. Just the sound of the door slamming shut. Lily stayed a moment longer, looking at me with those big eyes that reminded me so much of Jessica when she was a little girl. "Grandma, are you okay?" I smiled, stroking her shiny black hair. "Of course I am, sweetie. Now hurry, or you are going to be late for school." The little girl hugged me tight before she left. That hug was the only thing that kept me standing that day. After everyone had gone, I sat down at the empty kitchen table and looked around. This house, so many memories. I bought it 30 years ago when I was still working in a clothing factory. I saved every dollar I could. I ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to save up for the down payment. I worked double shifts on weekends, all to have a place of our own, a place where Jessica could grow up safe. The walls still had the marks from when she was little. There, at the kitchen entryway, were pencil marks measuring her height every birthday. Jessica, 5 years old. Jessica, 7 years old. Jessica, 10 years old. I ran my fingers over those faded marks and felt myself breaking inside. How did we get to this point? At what moment did my daughter stop seeing me as her mom and start seeing me as a nuisance? The phone rang. It was Brenda, my lifelong best friend. "Carol, how are you? Are we meeting for coffee this afternoon?" I hesitated for a moment. I did not want to worry her, but Brenda knew me better than anyone. "Of course, girl. I will see you at our usual spot." That afternoon, when I sat across from her at our usual table by the window, I could not hold it in any longer. Everything came pouring out. I told her about what I had heard, about how they treated me, about feeling invisible in my own home. Brenda took my hands firmly. Her eyes were filled with tears. "Oh, Carol, I cannot believe Jessica would do this to you after everything you sacrificed for her. Maybe it is my fault, Brenda. Maybe I spoiled her too much. I gave her everything, and now she values nothing. Do not say that. You were an exemplary mother. The problem is not you. The problem is that she forgot where she came from. I drank my coffee in silence, feeling the warmth of the mug in my cold hands. I do not know what to do, Brenda. I do not feel welcome in my own home anymore. My friend leaned forward, lowering her voice. Carol, is that house still in your name? Yes. When Jessica married Mark 15 years ago, I put her name on the deed too, but I am still the primary owner. Brenda looked at me with an intensity I had never seen before. Then you have options, girl. You have more power than you think. Those words kept spinning in my head all the way home. Options? What options did a 68-year-old woman have who had spent her entire life giving everything for her family? When I got home, the door was open. Inside, I heard loud voices. Jessica was arguing with Mark in the living room. I am telling you, I cannot take it anymore. My mom is here all day, getting into everything, asking annoying questions. I know, honey, but we cannot just kick her out. What will people say? I do not care what people say. I want my space. I want my house back. I stood in the doorway, listening to every word that broke my heart. Mark continued. Look, my mom says she knows a very nice nursing home on the other side of town. We could go see it this weekend. A nursing home. They wanted to put me in a nursing home after everything I had done, after giving them this house, after cooking, cleaning, taking care of Lily when they went out. They wanted to get rid of me as if I were trash. I walked into the living room. They both fell silent immediately, with those guilty faces that cannot be hidden. Hi, Mom, Jessica said with a forced cheerfulness. How was your time with Brenda? Fine. My voice came out calmer than I expected. I heard you talking about the nursing home. The silence was terrible. Jessica looked at Mark, then at me. Mom, it is just. We thought that maybe you would be more comfortable in a place where there are people your age, where they can take better care of you. Take care of me? Who takes care of me here? I am the one who takes care of everyone. I cook, I clean, I look after my granddaughter. What more do you want me to do? Mark stood up from the sofa with that condescending attitude he always used with me. Carol, understand. You are getting older. You need to rest, to stop working so much. At the nursing home, you would have everything. Food, doctors, activities with people your age. This is my house, Mark. I bought it with my money. Jessica came closer, putting on that sweet little girl face that no longer fooled me. Mom, nobody is saying it is not your house, but living here is causing you stress. You look tired all the time. We just want what is best for you. What is best for me? I repeated, feeling the weight of the lie. You mean what is best for you? What is best for having the house free, without the burdensome old woman in the way? Mom, do not be so dramatic. Jessica raised her voice, always making a drama out of everything. That is why it is so hard to talk to you. I turned around and went up to my room. I locked the door for the first time in years. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked around. This tiny room, at the back of the house. The room I had accepted to give them the larger bedrooms. The room where I had cried so many nights in silence. On the wall, there was an old picture of Jessica when she was 5. We were in a park, just the two of us. She was wearing a yellow dress that I had sewn for her myself. She was smiling with a full-toothed grin, hugging me tightly. That little girl loved me. That little girl needed me. Where did that little girl go? I took the photo down and put it in my drawer. I could not keep looking at the past. I had to think about the present, about my future. That evening, I did not have dinner with them. I stayed in my room, listening to their laughter from downstairs. Shirley, Mark's mother, had come for dinner. I could hear her shrill voice from my room. Oh, Jessica, you are so lucky to have such a beautiful house. I always said Mark deserved the best. Thanks, Shirley. Although sometimes it is hard to keep everything in order with, well, you know. Oh yes, your mother. Poor thing. But do not worry, honey. We will find a solution. My sister works at a very decent nursing home. I can get you a discount. They talked about me as if I did not exist anymore, as if I were already dead, and all that was left was to make the funeral arrangements. I knelt by the bed and prayed like I had not prayed in years. Lord, you who are a parent, You who know what it is to love a child more than your own life, help me, show me what to do, give me the strength I need. And in that moment, something inside me changed. I was no longer the Carol who accepted everything without a word. I was no longer the Carol who made herself small so as not to bother anyone. I was the Carol who had worked 3 jobs, the Carol who had raised her daughter alone, the Carol who had bought this house with her own effort. The next day, Tuesday morning, I waited for everyone to leave. Mark left first at 7. Jessica took Lily to school at 8. The house was empty and silent. I took my metal box out of the closet. All the important documents were in there. The deed to the house, my birth certificate, the bank papers. Everything in order, everything carefully stored for all these years. The deed clearly stated, Carol Ann Miller, primary owner, below. Added years later, Jessica Miller, Jones, co-owner. I called a number Brenda had given me. It was a lawyer, the son of a friend of hers. His name was Harrison. Good afternoon, Mrs. Miller. My mother told me about your situation. How can I help you? I explained everything. The humiliations, the nursing home plan, how they treated me in my own home. He listened without interrupting. Ma'am, you have every legal right to make changes to your property. As the primary owner, you can make decisions that affect the use of the house. Are you sure about what you want to do? More sure than I have been in a long time, Mr. Harrison. Very well. I will prepare the documents. Everything will be ready in a week. I hung up the phone with trembling hands. Not from fear, from something I had not felt in years, from power, from control over my own life. The next few days, I moved like a ghost in my own house. I did everything as usual. I cooked, I cleaned, I smiled when necessary. But inside, something had changed. Their slights did not hurt me in the same way. I no longer felt small when Shirley came to eat and treated me like a servant. Jessica noticed something was different. On Wednesday, while I was washing the dishes after lunch, she approached me. Mom, are you okay? You seem strange. I am fine, honey, just tired. Have you thought about what we told you about the nursing home? Shirley can take us to see it this Saturday. I kept washing the dishes without turning to look at her. We will see, Jessica. We will see. She left annoyed, muttering something I could not quite hear. But I did not care anymore. For the first time in a long time, I did not care what she thought. On Thursday afternoon, Mr. Harrison called me. Mrs. Miller, the documents are ready. Can you come to my office tomorrow? I will be there, Mr. Harrison. That night, Lily came to my room after doing her homework. She sat on my bed with a sad face. Grandma, is it true that you are going to live somewhere else? It broke my heart to see her little eyes full of tears. Come here, sweetie. I hugged her tight, feeling her little body tremble. No matter what happens, I will always be here for you. Maybe not in this house, but always in your heart and in your life. But I do not want you to go. I love you so much, Grandma. You are the only one who really listens to me. And you are my reason to keep going, little one. Never forget that. I rocked her until she calmed down. When she went to her room, I stared at the ceiling, thinking about everything that was about to happen. On Friday morning, I got ready with care. I put on my blue dress, the one I saved for special occasions. I did my hair nicely. I put on my silver earrings. I left the house before anyone woke up, leaving a note in the kitchen. Went out early. I have things to do, Carol. Mr. Harrison's office was downtown, an old but well-maintained building. His secretary greeted me with a kind smile. He is waiting for you, Mrs. Miller. Please, go in. Mr. Sif. Harrison was a man in his 50s, with glasses and a tie. He received me with respect, offering me coffee and cookies. Mrs. Miller, here are all the documents. I reviewed them very carefully. You, as the primary owner, have the right to request that the co-owners vacate the property if there are justified causes. In your case, the humiliation and psychological abuse constitute more than justified causes. He explained everything to me with patience, point by point, the rights I had, the steps that would follow, what I could expect. How long do they have to leave? I asked, feeling my voice tremble a little. The document gives them 30 days to vacate the property. That is enough time for them to find another place. 30 days. 1 month. I took a deep breath. And my granddaughter? Your granddaughter is a minor. She goes with her parents, but you can request a visitation schedule. You will not lose contact with her. I signed the documents with a steady hand. Each signature was a step toward my freedom. Each signature was reclaiming my dignity. The documents will be delivered tomorrow afternoon, directly to your daughter and son-in-law. An official process server will go to the house. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Really, thank you so much. You do not have to thank me, Mrs. Miller. You are doing the right thing. No one deserves to be mistreated in their own home. I walked back home slowly. It was mid-afternoon. The sun was warm. I stopped at a church along the way. I went in and sat in a pew at the back. Dear God, give me strength for what is coming. Protect Lily. Help Jessica to one day understand why I did this. And give me peace, Lord. Give me peace. When I got home, everyone was there. Jessica, Mark, Shirley, and Lily. They were sitting in the living room, talking animatedly about something. Mom, where were you? Jessica stood up. We have been calling you all afternoon. I was out taking care of some business. What business? Mark looked at me with that suspicion he could never quite hide. My own. I went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Shirley followed me. Carol, tomorrow we are going to see the nursing home. It is all set. At 10 o'clock in the morning. You have to be ready. I turned to look at her. This woman who had never respected me, who had always treated me as less. I am not going to any nursing home, Shirley. What do you mean, you are not? It is all arranged. You cannot be so stubborn. This is my house, and I am staying here. She snorted in annoyance and went back to the living room. I heard them whispering, Shirley talking about how difficult and stubborn I was. That night, I ate dinner with them in silence. Lily looked at me with concern. Jessica and Mark avoided my eyes. Shirley did not stop talking about the wonders of the nursing home, as if I was not even there. When everyone went to bed, I was left alone in the kitchen, washing the dinner dishes. I looked out the window at the small garden in the backyard. There was a rose bush that I planted when Jessica was a baby. It still bloomed after all these years. Tomorrow everything changes, I said to myself in a low voice. Tomorrow my new life begins, and for the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully, without nightmares, without anxiety, because I knew I had made the right decision. The next day, Saturday afternoon, the moment came. I was in my room when I heard the doorbell, then voices at the door, then yelling, "What is this? Mom, Mom, get down here right now." It was Jessica's voice, full of rage and panic. I came down the stairs slowly. In the living room were Jessica and Mark, holding some papers, their faces red with anger. The process server had already left. What does this mean? Jessica showed me the documents, trembling. Are you kicking us out of the house? I am exercising my rights as the primary owner of this property. Mark approached me threateningly. This is outrageous. You cannot do this. I can and I am. You have 30 days to find another place. Jessica collapsed onto the sofa, crying. I cannot believe it. My own mother. After everything we did for you. Those words. Everything we did for you. I had to take a deep breath to keep from screaming. Everything you did for me? Humiliate me? Treat me like a servant? Plan to put me in a nursing home without even asking me? Is that everything you did for me? We gave you a roof over your head. Food, Mark yelled. This house is mine. The food is bought with my pension. I gave you a roof over your heads. I supported you, and you paid me back with contempt. The silence that followed was long and heavy. Lily appeared on the stairs with her eyes full of tears. Grandma, come here, sweetie. I hugged her tight while Jessica and Mark looked at us with hatred. This is not over, Mark threatened. We are going to fight this legally. Go ahead. Mr. Harrison will be waiting for your calls. That night, the house was filled with screams, slamming doors, and tears. But I stood firm, because after 68 years of giving everything for others, I was finally choosing to give something to myself. Dignity. The days that followed were the most painful of my life. Jessica barely looked at me during meals. She ate in silence, scrolling on her phone, as if I did not even exist. Mark would pass me in the hallway as if I were invisible, without a good morning or good night. And Shirley, who used to come for lunch every day, now came more frequently, just to make me feel worse. Carol, get me some water. Carol, the food is bland again. Carol, do you not have anything better to do with your life than stand there in the way? I did not respond. I had promised myself to stay calm, to maintain my dignity, but every word caused me an immense sadness that I kept inside like a painful secret. One morning, while I was cleaning the living room, I found an old box under the sofa. I recognized it immediately. It was the box where I kept the photos from when Jessica was a child. I opened it with trembling hands, and the memories flooded over me like a wave. There was Jessica at 2 years old, in her little flowered dress that was too big because I had bought it at a flea market, thinking it would last longer. There she was at 5, on her first day of kindergarten, with the braids I did for her every morning before the sun came up so I could go to work. There she was at 8, losing her first tooth, smiling so big you could see all the others. I sat on the living room floor, surrounded by photos, and I wept. I cried for that little girl who loved me. I cried for the years I spent working to give her everything. I cried for the woman she had become, so different from the daughter I had raised. I remembered when she was 7 and got pneumonia. It was January, it was very cold, and we did not have heating in the house. I slept holding her every night to keep her warm. I worked during the day at a family's house, and at night I sewed clothes to sell. With that money, I paid for her medicine. I remember spending 3 straight days without sleep, taking care of her, praying for her to get better. When the fever finally broke and she opened her eyes and smiled at me, saying, "Mommy," I felt that all the exhaustion in the world was worth it. I promised her that I would always take care of her, that I would always be there for her. Now that promise felt like a burden that only I had carried. I put the photos back in the box and took it to my room. I could not keep looking at them every day. It broke me inside every time I saw those images of a happiness that seemed to belong to another life. That afternoon, when Jessica got home from work, she looked upset. Shirley was with her. They both entered the house speaking in low voices, but loud enough for me to hear from the kitchen. "I cannot believe your mom did this to us," Shirley was saying, "after everything you have done for her, giving her a home, food, care." "I know, Shirley, but my mom has always been like this, dramatic, manipulative. Now she is using the house as a weapon to control us." I squeezed the kitchen towel in my hands until my knuckles hurt. Me? Manipulative? The woman who had given everything without asking for anything in return? "You should fight this legally," Shirley continued. "Mark has rights. They have lived here for 15 years. That must count for something. We already spoke to a lawyer. He says that since she is the primary owner and we are just co-owners, she has the right to ask us to leave. But we are looking at other options." I peeked through the kitchen door. "What options?" They both fell silent immediately, with those guilty faces I knew so well. Jessica cleared her throat. "Mom, we need to talk." "I am listening. Look, I know you are upset, and maybe we made mistakes too. But what you are doing is too much. Kicking us out of the house where we have lived for 15 years, where Lily grew up. It is cruel, Mom." "Cruel?" I felt something break inside me. Cruel like planning to put me in a nursing home without asking me? Cruel like calling me an old woman who only causes problems? Cruel like treating me like a servant in my own house? "We never treated you like a servant," Jessica shouted. "No? Then what was it? When was the last time you thanked me for making a meal? When was the last time you asked me how I was feeling? When was the last time you treated me like your mother and not like a nuisance?" Shirley interjected. "Carol, do not be so dramatic. Young people today are like that. They are busy. They have a lot of pressure. You cannot expect them to be doting on you all the time." "I do not expect them to dote on me all the time, Shirley. I just expect a minimum of respect, something that it seems no one in this house knows how to give." Jessica went to her room, slamming the door. Shirley shot me a venomous look before following her. I was left alone in the living room, trembling with rage and sadness. That night, Lily came down to my room after everyone was asleep. She knocked on the door softly. "Grandma, can I come in?" "Of course, sweetie." She came in with her eyes swollen from crying so much. She sat on my bed and hugged me tight. "Grandma, my mom says we are going to have to leave the house. She says it is your fault. Why are you doing this?" It broke my soul to see my granddaughter like this. I sat her on my lap like when she was smaller and stroked her hair. "Sweetheart, sometimes adults have to make difficult decisions. Decisions that hurt, but are necessary. But I do not want to leave. This is my house. My room is here, my things, my memories. I know, little one, and believe me, this hurts me more than anyone. But your mom and dad have made me feel like I am not welcome here. And nobody should live in a place where they are not wanted. But I do want you, Grandma. I love you so much. And I love you, sweetie, more than anything in the world. And that will never change. Wherever you live, I will always be there for you. Always." I rocked her until she fell asleep in my arms. Then I carried her to her room, like I did when she was a baby. I tucked her in carefully and gave her a kiss on the forehead. "Forgive me, my child," I whispered. "Forgive me for not being able to protect you from all of this." The following days were like living in a war zone. Jessica and Mark did not speak to me. When they had to say something, they did it through Lily or just left notes in the kitchen. "Carol, the gas is out. Order a refill." "Carol, Lily's clothes need to be ironed for tomorrow." "Carol, we are not having dinner here tonight." Cold notes, without a please, without a thank you. As if I were a hired employee and not the owner of the house. One afternoon, while I was ironing clothes in the backyard, my friend Brenda came to visit. She looked worried. "Carol, I heard about everything. How are you?" I shrugged, not stopping my ironing. "Surviving, Brenda, just surviving. Have they found a place yet?" "I do not know. They do not talk to me. They just leave me notes." Brenda sat in a plastic chair next to me. "Are you sure about this, Carol? You can still back out." I put the iron down on the board and turned to look at her. "Brenda, for 2 years I have felt like trash in my own house. 2 years of listening to them complain about me, plan how to get rid of me. Do you think I can go on living like this?" "No, of course not. But I do not want to see you suffer either. I am already suffering, Brenda. The difference is that now I am doing something about it." We were silent for a long time. Brenda helped me finish ironing the clothes. It was a moment of peace in the middle of the storm. "You know what hurts the most?" I said as I folded a sheet. "It is not that they want me out. It is that they never stopped to think about everything I did for them, everything I sacrificed. Tell me, Carol. Let it all out." And then I started to remember, to tell everything I had kept inside for so long. When Jessica's father left us, she was 3. I was left with nothing. No money, no job, no family to support me. My mother had already passed away, and my siblings lived far away. I was completely alone with a little girl who depended on me. Brenda took my hand, listening in silence. "I got a job at a family's house. They paid me a few $100s a week. It was not even enough for the rent of a single room, so I took a second job at a diner. At night, I would leave one job and go straight to the other. I slept 3 or 4 hours if I was lucky." "Oh, Carol." Jessica stayed with the neighbor while I worked. Mrs. Amelia. She was a good woman who charged me very little to watch her, but still, every dollar I earned went to that. Rent, food, clothes, for Jessica. I remembered those years as if it were yesterday. The exhaustion that never went away. The hunger I learned to ignore. The nights I cried in silence so Jessica would not hear me. When Jessica turned 6, she started elementary school. She needed supplies, uniforms, books. I did not have money for all that, so I took a 3rd job on weekends, cleaning an office. I worked 7 days a week, Brenda. 7 days. I do not know how you managed. For her. Everything was for her. Every time I felt like I could not go on, I would watch her sleep so peacefully and find the strength to continue. I kept talking. The years passed in my memories like a sad movie. When she went to middle school, she wanted to study at a good school, not the one in our neighborhood where there were gangs and problems. I did some research and found a private school that charged $1,500 a month. It was a huge amount of money for me, but I managed it. I worked even more. I saved every last dollar. Jessica did not even know how much it cost me. She just saw that she could go to that nice school where kids from better families than ours studied. Brenda handed me a tissue. I had not realized I was crying. I never bought new clothes for myself. Everything I wore was second-hand or given to me. But Jessica always had the best I could give her. New shoes whenever she needed them. Pretty clothes for school parties. Brand name supplies. Everything. You are an incredible mother, Carol. When she turned 16, she wanted a big party. All her friends had had parties with bands, expensive dresses, decorated halls. She wanted one too. I had been saving to buy this house. I had been putting away dollar by dollar for years. But when I saw her excited little face talking about her sweet 16 party, I knew I could not say no. I paused for a moment, remembering that day with a mixture of love and pain. I spent everything I had saved on that party. Everything, Brenda. The dress, the hall, the band, the food, the decorations. Jessica was so happy that day. She danced with me and told me, "You are the best mom in the world." It was one of the happiest days of my life. But you lost your savings. I lost my savings, but I saw my daughter happy. At that moment, that was what mattered. I started over from scratch. I started saving again. It took me another 10 years to save enough for the down payment on this house. Brenda shook her head, her eyes full of tears. And now she treats you like this. Now she treats me like this, I repeated in a tired voice. We kept talking as we finished folding the clothes. I told her more things. Things I had never told anyone. When Jessica met Mark, I had my doubts. Something about that young man did not sit right with me. He was very arrogant, very conceited. But she was in love, and I just wanted to see her happy. Did you tell her your doubts? I tried to talk to her once. I told her that Mark seemed a bit cold, a bit disinterested. She got so angry with me, Brenda. She told me I was bitter, that I had never been able to rebuild my life, and that is why I did not want her to be happy. It hurt so much that I never said anything again. I remembered the wedding. A big, expensive wedding that I also helped pay for. Jessica wanted everything perfect, everything elegant. Mark did not contribute a single dollar. His family did not either. Everything fell on my shoulders. I sold my last pieces of jewelry to help with the wedding. A pair of gold earrings that had belonged to my grandmother. A silver bracelet my mom gave me when I turned 18. I sold them and gave the money to Jessica. She did not even ask where it came from. She just took it and continued planning her perfect wedding. Carol, you are either too good or too foolish, I said with a bitter laugh. After the wedding, they lived in a rented apartment for 5 years. A small, expensive place. They were always complaining that they did not have enough money, that they wanted their own house. When I finally finished paying off this house, I told them to come live with me. It was big. It had enough space for everyone. Jessica was pregnant with Lily, and I thought it would be nice to have my daughter and my future granddaughter close. And what did Mark say? Mark accepted immediately. Too quickly, now that I think about it. They did not pay rent. They did not pay utilities. I covered everything with my pension and with what I earned doing sewing on the side. They only had to pay for their food and their personal expenses. Brenda shook her head. And they still complained. Not at first. The first few years were good. Jessica helped me with the house. We played with Lily. We were a family. But little by little, things started to change. Mark started treating me differently, as if I were a nuisance. Jessica started doing the same. I told her about the day I decided to also put Jessica's name on the deed to the house. It was 10 years ago, when Lily was 2. A lawyer advised me not to do it. He told me it was my only property, my only security. But I trusted my daughter. I thought it was fair, that she was my only family, and that when I died, the house would be hers anyway. So I signed the papers. Did Jessica ask you to? Not directly. But one day I heard her talking to Mark. They were saying it was unfair that I was the sole owner of the house, that they lived there too and deserved rights. I felt bad. I thought maybe they were right. So the next day I went to the notary and arranged for her to also appear as an owner. Did she ever thank you? I fell silent. No, she had never thanked me. When I gave her the papers, she just took them and said, well, it was the right thing to do, as if I had owed it to her whole life. Things got worse when Shirley came into the equation, I continued. That woman never stood me. From the beginning, she treated me with contempt and filled Jessica's head with ideas that I was a meddling mother-in-law, a bitter old woman who wanted to control their lives. Brenda knew Shirley well. Everyone in the neighborhood knew her. She was famous for her venomous tongue and her habit of stirring up trouble between families. Shirley started coming every day. She would sit in my living room as if it were her house and treat me like a servant. "Carol, get me this. Carol, do that." And Jessica never said anything to her. On the contrary, she started treating me the same way. I told her about the family meals that became my torture. Sitting at my own table, in my own house, being ignored or humiliated. The conversations about trips they planned without including me. The decisions about the house they made without consulting me. One day they decided to change the living room furniture. I came home from Sunday service and found movers carrying out my sofa, the one I had bought with so much effort years ago. I asked Jessica what was happening, and she said, "It was time for an update, Mom. This sofa was really old." They did not ask me. They just did it. And what did you do? Nothing. I swallowed my anger and said nothing. As always, I thought maybe they were right, that maybe the sofa was very worn. But it hurt, Brenda. It hurt that they did not take me into account for something like that. I continued recounting more episodes, each one worse than the last. The time Mark yelled that he was sick of supporting the old woman. The time Jessica told her friends in front of me that I was a burden. The time Shirley suggested they put me in a nursing home and everyone laughed as if it were a joke. You know what was the last straw? I asked Brenda. What? A month ago, Lily got sick. She had a high fever. Jessica and Mark were not there. They had gone out to dinner. I stayed up all night taking care of her. I put cold cloths on her, gave her medicine, sang to her to help her sleep. In the early morning, when the fever finally broke, Lily hugged me and said, "I love you, Grandma. You always take care of me." My voice broke as I remembered it. The next day, when Jessica arrived, I told her that Lily had been sick. You know what she said to me? She said, "Oh, Mom, do not exaggerate. It was probably just a little cold. You always make a drama out of everything." She did not thank me. She did not ask me how I had spent the night. She just made me feel like I had exaggerated everything. Brenda hugged me. "It was about time you did something, Carol. It was about time." That night, when everyone returned home, Mark handed me a piece of paper. "This is an offer. We will buy your share of the house, and you leave. That way, everyone is happy." I looked at the paper. It was a ridiculous amount, less than half of what my share was worth. "This is an insult, Mark. It is what we can afford. Take it or leave it." I tore the paper into pieces and threw them in his face. "I am not selling anything. This house is mine, and you are the ones who are leaving. The clock is still ticking. You have 25 days left." Mark turned red with rage, but he did not say anything else. He left, slamming a door that made the whole house tremble. I could not sleep that night. I stayed awake thinking about everything, about the years of sacrifice, about the love I gave without measure, about the ingratitude I received in return. And for the first time, I did not feel guilty. I did not feel bad. I felt free. Free from the burden of being the perfect mother who puts up with everything. Free from the need to please everyone but myself. I stood in front of the mirror in my room. I looked at the woman staring back at me. She was 68 years old. Wrinkles on her face, gray in her hair, hands tired from so much work. But in her eyes I saw something new, something I had not seen in a long time. I saw strength. I saw determination. I saw a woman who had finally decided to fight for herself. "We are going to be okay," I told my reflection. "Everything is going to be okay." And for the first time in 2 years, I believed it. I woke up with a mental clarity I had not felt in years. It was Tuesday. There were 23 days left until the deadline. While preparing breakfast, I realized something important. My hands were no longer shaking. I no longer felt that knot in my stomach every time I heard their voices. Something inside me had definitively changed. Jessica came down for breakfast looking sullen. She poured herself coffee without a word and sat as far away from me as possible. Mark did not even come down. He went straight to work without saying goodbye. Only Lily wished me a good morning with her soft little voice. "Good morning, Grandma. Did you sleep well?" "Very well, sweetie. Do you want pancakes?" "Yes." Jessica shot me a poisonous look, but said nothing. I made Lily's pancakes with all the love in the world, decorating them with syrup and strawberries, just how she liked them. The little girl smiled, and that was enough to fill my heart. When everyone had left, I began my plan. It was not a plan of revenge. It was a plan of survival, of taking my life back. First, I called the bank. I spoke with the manager, Mr. Daniels, who had known me for years. "Mrs. Miller, how can I help you?" "Mr. Daniels, I need to review all the accounts I have there, and I need to make some important changes." "Of course. Can you come in this afternoon?" "I will be there." Next, I called the electric company. For years the bills had come in my name, but Mark paid them, or so he said. I wanted to verify that they were actually paid. "Good afternoon. I am calling to check the status of my account." The young woman on the other end checked her system. "Mrs. Miller, I see you have an overdue balance of 4 months." My world stopped. 4 months? But my son-in-law said he was paying. "We have no payment registered since March, ma'am." March. 4 months had passed without paying the electricity. Mark had lied to me all this time. He had been taking the money I gave him for the utilities, and who knows what he was spending it on. "What is the total?" $457, ma'am. It was a lot of money. But I had to pay it, or they would cut off our service. "I will come in to pay today. Thank you." I hung up and took a deep breath. The rage I felt was so immense that I had trouble staying calm. But I could not explode. Not yet. I had to be smart. I called the water company. The same story. 2 months overdue. $150. I called the gas company. 1 month overdue. $80. In total, Mark had failed to pay $687 in utilities. Money that I had specifically given him for that. Money that he had used for who knows what while he looked me in the face. I changed my clothes, grabbed my purse, and left the house. I had a lot to do and little time. First stop, the bank. Mr. Daniels received me in his office with a kind smile. "Mrs. Miller, tell me, what do you need?" I explained the situation. Everything. The mistreatment, the plans to put me in a nursing home, the overdue bills I had just discovered. "Mr. Daniels, I need to know exactly how much money I have and where it is, and I need to protect it." We reviewed all my accounts. My pension came in every month to a savings account. I had saved up $72,000. It was everything I had in the world besides the house. "Mrs. Miller, does anyone else have access to this account?" "No, only me." "Perfect. We are going to make some changes for added security. First, we will change all your passwords and PINs. Second, we will set up alerts so you get a message every time there is a movement in your account. And third, I recommend you request a new card. We made all the changes, Mr. Daniels was very patient, explaining everything step by step. When we finished, I felt more secure. "One last thing, Mr. Daniels. My pension comes directly to this account, right?" "That is correct. And if someone wanted to change that, what would they need?" "They would need your signature and your official identification. Without that, no one can make changes." "Perfect. Thank you very much." "At your service, Mrs. Miller. And if you need anything, do not hesitate to call me." I left the bank feeling stronger. My money was safe. No one could touch it. Second stop, paying the utilities. I went to the electric company office first. The line was long, but it was worth it. I paid the $457 and requested that all future bills come only to my name and that notifications be sent to my cell phone via text message. "Ma'am, are you sure? The service is in your name, but I see another number registered for notifications." "Remove that number. Only mine." "As you wish." I did the same at the water company office and paid the gas bill over the phone. In total, I spent $687. It hurt to see that money go, but it was necessary. Besides, I now had full control over the utilities. Third stop, the grocery store. I needed to think, and the market always relaxed me. I walked among the stalls, greeting the vendors who had known me for years. "Mrs. Carroll, how are you?" "It has been a while since I have seen you," said Mr. Peterson, the man from the vegetable stand. "I am well, Mr. Peterson. Just getting by. You look different, kind of. How should I put it? Lighter." His comment surprised me. "Lighter?" "Yes, as if a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Your face is glowing differently." I smiled. Mr. Peterson was right. I felt different. I felt more like myself. I bought some fresh vegetables and kept walking. I stopped at Mrs. Gable's stall, where they sold prepared food. "Mrs. Carroll, what can I get for you today?" "A cheesesteak, please, to go." While I waited for my order, I sat on one of the market benches. I watched the people pass by, families shopping together, ladies haggling over prices, children running between the stalls. Normal life. Simple life. How long had it been since I had sat like this, peacefully, just observing? Years, maybe decades. I had always been running, working, worrying about others. "Here is your sandwich, Mrs. Carroll." "Thank you, Mrs. Gable." I returned home around 3 in the afternoon. The house was empty and quiet. I served the cheesesteak on my favorite plate, the one with little blue flowers, and sat down to eat slowly, savoring every bite. After eating, I went up to my room and took out an old notebook I had bought years ago and never used. It was time to make a list. A list of everything I had to do in the next 23 days. I wrote, "Talk to Mr. Harrison about the next steps. Separate my things from theirs. Decide what to do with the furniture and objects in the house. Find a locksmith to change the locks when they leave. Talk to Lily and explain everything calmly. Prepare the house to live in, alone. Make a monthly budget. Contact my friends from the prayer group." I looked at the list. It was a lot, but it was manageable. And most importantly, it was my list, my decisions, my life. I called Mr. Harrison. He answered on the second ring. "Mrs. Miller, good afternoon. How is everything going?" "Well, Mr. Harrison, I have some questions." "Of course, go ahead. What happens if they do not leave in 30 days? Then we initiate a legal eviction process. We have all the legal grounds. They are at fault for several reasons. Do not worry. The law is on your side. And my things? I have furniture, appliances, things I bought. Everything you can prove you bought with your money is yours. They cannot take it. I recommend you make an inventory with photographs of everything." "Photographs?" "Yes. Take photos of everything that is yours, with the date visible. That way we will have proof if they try to take anything." "Understood." "Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I am here to serve you, Mrs. Miller. And remember, you are doing the right thing." I hung up and immediately started with the photographs. I went through the whole house with my cell phone, taking pictures of everything. The stove I had bought 10 years ago, the refrigerator that cost me months of savings, the washing machine, the living room set that Jessica had changed without my permission, but that I had paid for because I had no choice, the dining set, the bedrooms. Every photo I took was evidence. Evidence that this house and everything in it was the product of my work and my effort. When I finished, I had over 200 photos. I saved them all in a special folder on my phone and backed them up by emailing them to myself. It was almost 6 in the evening when I heard the door open. It was Jessica. She was alone. "Mom, are you here?" "In the kitchen." She came in with a serious face. She sat in one of the chairs and looked at me intently. "Mom, we need to talk." "I am listening." "This is going too far. Mark is very stressed. Lily is sad all the time. And I do not know what to do." For a moment, I saw something in her eyes. Was it regret? Pain? I was not sure. "Jessica, I did not want things to get to this point either, but you left me no choice." "Mom, we never wanted to hurt you." "No." I put down the kitchen towel I was folding. "Then what was it? Planning to put me in a nursing home? Treating me like a servant? Lying to me about paying the bills?" She turned pale. "How did you know about the bills?" "Because I went to pay them. 4 months of electricity, 2 of water, 1 of gas, $687 that I gave Mark and that he did not pay." "What did he spend that money on, Jessica?" She looked down, ashamed. I do not know, Mom. I really do not know. Mark handles all the money. Well, you should know. It is your family. It is your responsibility. She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was softer, more vulnerable. Mom, are you really going to kick us out? Is there no way to fix this? I felt something move in my chest. It was my daughter, my only daughter. The child I had carried in my arms, whom I had cared for when she was sick, whom I had raised with so much love. But she was also the woman who had humiliated me, who had treated me like trash, who had planned to get rid of me without remorse. Jessica, do you think I deserve respect? Of course, Mom. Then why have you not given it to me? Why did you let Mark treat me badly? Why did you let your mother-in-law humiliate me in my own home? Why did you never defend me? I do not know, Mom. I guess I got carried away. Mark can be very convincing. His mother too. And I was tired, stressed. I was not thinking. You were not thinking about me. That is what happened. You never think about me. Tears started to roll down her cheeks. I am sorry, Mom. I am truly sorry. It was the first time in 2 years I had heard her apologize, but something in me could no longer accept it so easily. Apologies without a change in behavior meant nothing. Jessica, I am going to tell you something, and I want you to listen carefully. I love you. You are my daughter, and you will always be my daughter. But loving does not mean letting myself be walked all over. Loving does not mean accepting mistreatment. And loving does not mean sacrificing my dignity to keep the peace. I am not finished. All my life I have put others first. You, your needs, your happiness, and I do not regret any of it. But there came a point where I lost sight of the fact that I matter too, that I also deserve respect and love and consideration. She cried in silence, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. The next 23 days are going to be difficult, I continued, but they are necessary. I need you all to understand that you cannot treat me like this. And you need to understand that being my daughter does not give you the right to disrespect me. And after the 23 days, what is going to happen to us? I do not know, honey. I honestly do not know. It depends on you, on how you use this time, on whether you really understand what you did wrong. Jessica stood up from the chair, trembling. I am going to talk to Mark. I am going to try to make him understand. Do what you have to do. But the deadline does not change. She left the kitchen with her shoulders slumped. I heard her go up the stairs slowly. Part of me wanted to run after her, to hug her, to tell her that everything would be okay. But I stayed where I was, because not everything was okay, and I could not keep pretending that it was. That night, Mark came home later than usual. I heard raised voices in their room. They were arguing. I could not hear the exact words, but the tone was clear. They were fighting about me, about the situation, about the uncertain future that awaited them. Lily came down to my room around 10 o'clock at night. She brought her pillow and her teddy bear. Grandma, can I sleep with you? My parents are fighting. Of course, sweetie. Come on in. She got into my bed and snuggled up against me. I stroked her hair until her breathing became slower and deeper. Grandma, she whispered, almost asleep. Why are grown-ups so complicated? I smiled in the darkness. Because sometimes we forget how to be simple, sweetie. We forget that the most important thing is love and respect. Do you love me, Grandma? More than anything in the world, little one. More than anything. She fell asleep in my arms. I stayed awake a while longer, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything. The following days, I established a routine. I would get up early, do my things, go for a walk in the park. I started going to the prayer group meetings on Wednesday afternoons. I reconnected with friends I had stopped seeing because I did not have time. One of those friends was Hope. I had met her at the clothing factory where I worked many years ago. We had lost touch when Jessica got married, and I became a grandmother. Carol, what a miracle. How many years has it been? Too many, my friend. I have missed you. We sat on a park bench and talked for hours. I told her everything. She listened without judging, without interrupting. You did the right thing, Carol. The right thing. I went through something similar years ago with my oldest son. Sometimes children forget who we are, everything we have done for them. And how did your situation end? I had to set firm boundaries. Very firm. My son got angry. He did not speak to me for a year, but eventually, he understood. Now our relationship is better than ever because it is based on mutual respect, not obligation. A year without speaking to him? It was the hardest year of my life, but also the most necessary, because I learned to live for myself, to be happy without depending on my children's approval. Her words gave me hope. Maybe Jessica and I could rebuild our relationship, but first, I had to destroy the toxic dynamic we had created. The days passed. 23, 22, 21. The atmosphere in the house was tense, but I remained calm. I did my things, took care of Lily, avoided conflicts. One afternoon, I found Jessica crying in her room. The door was open. I hesitated whether to go in or not. "Mom?" She saw me standing in the hallway. "Can you come in?" I sat on the edge of her bed. She wiped her tears. "We cannot find a house, Mom. We have seen about 20, and none of them are in our budget. They are either too expensive, or too far from Mark's work, or in dangerous neighborhoods. I do not know what we are going to do." For a moment, I felt the urge to give in, to tell them to stay, to forget all this, but I bit my tongue. "You still have time to look. You will find something. What if we do not? Are you really going to put us out on the street?" "I am not going to put you out on the street, Jessica. You have options. You can rent a temporary apartment. You can ask Mark's family for help. You can look in other areas. There are options. None as good as this house. This house is mine, and I need my space." She nodded slowly. "I understand, Mom. I really do understand now." I did not know if I believed her, but I nodded and left her room. That night, while preparing dinner, my cell phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello? Mrs. Carol Miller?" "Yes, this is she. This is Mary Ellen, from the prayer group. I am sorry to bother you at this hour." "It is no bother. What can I do for you?" "Well, I heard about your situation from the sisters in the group, and I wanted to tell you that I am very proud of you. What you are doing takes a lot of courage." Her call surprised me. "Thank you, Sister Mary Ellen, and I wanted to offer you something. My husband and I have an extra room in our house. If you ever need a quiet place to think or rest, you are invited. No strings attached, no pressure." My eyes filled with tears. "You do not know how much that means to me. Thank you very much. That is what sisters are for, to support each other. God bless you, Mrs. Carroll." I hung up feeling supported. I was not alone in this. I had people who supported me, who understood me. 14 days, 13 days, 12 days. Time kept moving, and I remained firm in my decision. One morning, 11 days before the deadline, I woke up with a deep sense of peace. It was Saturday. The sun was streaming through my window, illuminating the dust particles floating in the air. I got up, took a long shower, put on my favorite dress, and went down for breakfast. At the table were Jessica, Mark, and Lily. All silent. I poured myself coffee and sat down with them. "Good morning." "Oh, good morning, Mom," Jessica replied in a soft voice. Mark said nothing. Lily smiled at me. "We found a house," Jessica said suddenly. "It is smaller than this one and more expensive, but it is the only thing we could get. I am glad you found something. We are moving on Thursday, 4 days before the deadline." I nodded. "Good." Silence once again took over the table, but it was a different kind of silence. It was not hostile, it was resigned, sad, but resigned. And I, for the first time in a long time, felt completely at peace with my decisions. There were 11 days left to get my house, my space, my life back. 11 days to be myself again. Thursday arrived faster than I expected. I woke up early, long before the sun came up. I had slept little, not from nerves, but from a mix of emotions I did not know how to name. Relief, sadness, hope, all tied together in a knot in my chest that was not painful, just intense. From my window, I watched the sky turn orange and pink. It was a beautiful sunrise, as if God himself were painting the beginning of my new life. I went down to the kitchen and made coffee. The aroma filled the whole house. It was still early, just 6 o'clock in the morning, but I heard movement upstairs. They were awake too. At 7, the moving truck arrived. It was a large truck, one of those with the company name painted on the sides. 2 young men got out and rang the doorbell. Mark opened the door. "Come in. Everything that needs to go is marked with blue tape." For the next few hours, I watched as they took things out of my house. Jessica and Mark's king-sized bed, Lily's desk, boxes and more boxes of clothes, shoes, toys, books, the television from the master bedroom, Jessica's closet filled to the brim. I stayed in the kitchen, watching everything from a distance. I did not help carry anything. I did not offer to say goodbye to the furniture. I just watched. Jessica came down the stairs carrying a small box. It was the photo box, the same one I had found weeks ago. She saw me looking at it. "These are pictures from when I was a little girl," she said softly. "I thought maybe you wanted to keep some." "Keep all of them," I replied. "They are your memories, your story." She nodded and put the box in her car. Lily was sitting on the stairs, hugging her teddy bear. Her eyes were red from crying so much. It broke my heart to see her like that, but I knew this was necessary. Children are resilient. She was going to be fine. I sat next to her on the step. "How are you, sweetie?" "Sad, Grandma. I do not want to go." "I know, little one, but sometimes things have to change so we can all be better." "Will I be able to visit you?" "Every weekend you want. This will always be your house too. The difference is, you just will not live here anymore. Do you promise?" "I promise in my life." She hugged me and cried a little more. I cried too, but silently so as not to scare her more. By noon, the truck was almost full. Mark supervised everything with a notepad, checking that they did not forget anything. Shirley had arrived an hour earlier and was sitting in the living room like a queen, giving orders to the movers. "Be careful with that vase. It is very expensive. Jessica, tell these boys to be more careful." I walked past her on my way to the backyard, and she did not even look at me, as if I no longer existed. And honestly, I did not care. That woman no longer had power over me. In the backyard, I watered my plants, my roses, my geraniums, my mint. I had neglected them in recent weeks, and it showed. But today I had time. Today I had my whole life ahead of me to take care of them. Mrs. Miller, one of the movers, approached me. "Excuse me, is this refrigerator going too?" "No, that refrigerator stays. It is mine." The young man nodded and left. I heard Mark protesting from inside. "What do you mean the fridge is staying? We need it." "It is my mom's," I heard Jessica say. "She bought it." "Well, then have her sell it to us. We cannot arrive at the new house without a refrigerator." "It is not for sale," I said, walking into the living room. "It is mine and it stays here. You can buy your own." Mark shot me a look full of hatred, but he did not say anything else. He knew he had no power here. Not anymore. At 1 in the afternoon, the truck was ready to leave. The movers closed the back doors and got into the cab. Jessica, Mark, and Lily stood in the living room, surrounded by the last boxes they were going to take in their car. There was a heavy, uncomfortable silence. No one knew what to say. Shirley was the first to break the silence. "Well, let's go. There is nothing more to do here." She grabbed her purse and left the house without saying goodbye to me, as if these past 2 years had never existed. Mark followed her, carrying 2 boxes. I was left alone with Jessica and Lily. "Mom?" Jessica approached with teary eyes. I do not know what to say." "You do not have to say anything, but I want to. I want you to know that I am sorry. I am truly sorry. I am sorry for treating you badly. I am sorry for not valuing you. I am sorry for everything." Her words sounded sincere, but I had heard apologies before. What mattered now were actions, not words. "Jessica, I forgive you. I told you that already. But forgiving does not mean forgetting. It does not mean everything goes back to how it was." "I know, Mom, I know." Lily clung to my waist. "Grandma, I'm going to miss you so much." I bent down to her level. I wiped her tears with my hands. "And I you, sweetie, but we will see each other very soon. You can come have breakfast with me on Saturday. How does that sound?" "Really? Really?" I gave her a kiss on the forehead and hugged her tight. She smelled like baby soap and cookies. My granddaughter. My treasure. Jessica leaned in and gave me a kiss on the cheek. Thank you for everything, Mom. For raising me. For giving me everything. For being my mom. Even though I have not been a good daughter. You were a good daughter for many years, Jessica. What happened after? Well, let's hope this serves as a lesson for everyone. She nodded and took Lily's hand. Let's go, sweetie. Your dad is waiting for us. I watched them walk out the door. Jessica turned back one last time before closing it. She looked at me with those eyes I knew so well. The same eyes she had as a little girl when she was afraid of the dark. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, daughter. The door closed. The silence that followed was absolute. It was not a sad silence. It was a silence full of possibilities. Of freedom. Of peace. I walked through the whole house. The living room looked bigger without so much furniture. The master bedroom was empty. Only my twin bed, which had always been there, remained. Lily's room no longer had her toys or her drawings on the walls. But it was my house, completely mine. I sat on the living room sofa, the same one where I had sat so many times feeling invisible. Now I felt the complete opposite. I felt present. I felt alive. I cried. I cried for everything I had lost. For the relationship with my daughter that would have to be rebuilt from scratch. For the moments with my granddaughter, which would be different now. I cried for the years I spent feeling small in my own home. But I also cried with relief. With freedom. With the knowledge that I had had the courage to choose myself. The phone rang. It was Brenda. My friend, how are you? Are they gone? They are gone, Brenda. And how do you feel? Strange. Like a huge weight has been lifted, but at the same time, like something is missing. That is normal. Do you want me to come over? No, Brenda. Thanks. I need to be alone for a while. I need to get used to my new life. I understand. But if you need me, you call me. Anytime. Thanks, Brenda. Really. I hung up and continued sitting on the sofa. Outside, the sun was beginning to set. The shadows were lengthening in the backyard. Soon it would be night. I got up and went to the kitchen. I opened the refrigerator. It was almost empty. There were just some vegetables, eggs, milk. Tomorrow, I would go to the market to stock up properly, to buy only what I liked, to fill my house with my favorite food. I made a simple grilled cheese sandwich. I sat down to eat it at the kitchen table. That table where I had served thousands of meals for my family. Now it was just for me, and for the first time in years, that did not make me feel lonely. It made me feel free. That night I slept deeply, without nightmares, without anxiety, just the peaceful sleep of someone who has finally found peace. The next day, Friday, I woke up with the sun streaming through my window. It was my first full day alone in the house. I stretched in bed, taking my time. There was no rush. There was no one waiting for breakfast. There were no clothes to wash urgently. There were no screams or complaints. Just silence. Blessed silence. I got up slowly. I took a long shower. I put on comfortable clothes and went down for breakfast. I turned on the radio. A station that played music from my era. Oldies, ballads, songs that reminded me of my youth. I made scrambled eggs with ham, refried beans, warm tortillas. All for me. I served myself and ate slowly, enjoying every bite. After breakfast, I called a locksmith. Mr. Harrison had recommended I change all the locks in the house. For security. Good morning. Do you change locks? Yes, ma'am. When do you need it? Can you do it today? Let me check. Yes, I can be there around 3 in the afternoon. Perfect. I will be waiting. I also called a painter. The walls of the house needed a fresh coat of paint. I needed to renew everything, to make this space feel new again. At 3, the locksmith arrived. An older man with a large mustache and strong hands. Good afternoon, ma'am. I am here about the locks. Come in. There are 3 doors. The main one, the back one, and my bedroom one. He worked for 2 hours. When he finished, he gave me 6 new keys, 2 for each lock. Here you go, ma'am. No one but you can get in now. I paid him, and he left. I stood looking at the keys in my hand. They were small, but they meant everything. They meant that this house was mine and no one else's. On Saturday morning, as promised, Lily came to visit me. Jessica dropped her off at the door and left without getting out of the car. She did not honk. She did not say goodbye. She just dropped off the child and left. "Grandma!" Lily ran into my arms. "Sweetie, how are you?" "Good. The new house is weird. Small. But my parents say we will get used to it." "Of course you will. It is just a matter of time." We spent the whole morning together. We made chocolate chip pancakes. We watched a movie. We played bingo. We laughed a lot. When Jessica came back for her at noon, Lily was happy. "Grandma, can I come again next week?" "Every week you want, sweetie." Jessica rolled down the car window. "Thanks for watching her, Mom." "It is not watching her. It is enjoying my granddaughter." There was a moment of awkward silence. "Mom, can we talk someday? Just you and me?" "When you are ready, Jessica. When you are really ready." She nodded and left. The days kept passing. Weeks. A month. 2 months. My life found a new rhythm. I woke up when I wanted. I cooked what I wanted. I watched television without anyone complaining. I invited my friends over for coffee. I went to church every Sunday. I tended to my garden, and every Saturday, without fail, Lily came to visit me. Jessica and I spoke a few times on the phone. Short conversations, superficial, asking about health, commenting on the weather. Nothing deep, not yet. But it was okay, because I had learned something important. That love does not have to hurt. That family relationships should be built on respect, not obligation. One afternoon, 3 months after they left, Jessica called me. "Mom, can we meet? I want to talk to you." "Of course." "Here at the house?" "Yes, if you do not mind." "I do not mind." The next day, Jessica arrived alone. Without Mark, without Lily, just her. We sat in the living room with coffee and cookies. "Mom, I want you to know something. Mark and I are in couples therapy." I was surprised. "Really?" "Yes." All of this, everything that happened, made us realize a lot of things. How we mistreated the people we love. How we let his mom manipulate us. How we drifted away from what really matters. I am glad you are working on that. And I started individual therapy too, to work on myself, on why I let things get so far with you. I felt something soften in my chest. "Jessica, that says a lot about you. I know I cannot erase what happened. I know I hurt you. A lot. And I know we will need time to rebuild our relationship. But I want to try, Mom. I really want to try." I looked into her eyes. She was no longer the arrogant, cold woman from months ago. She was someone different. Someone more humble. More aware. "I want to try too, daughter. But it has to be different this time." "I know. And it will be. I promise." I do not know if I believed her completely, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Because that is what mothers do. They love, they forgive, they give second chances. But now, with boundaries, with dignity, with mutual respect. And that made all the difference. 6 months have passed since that Thursday that changed everything. 6 months since I got my house back, my space, my life. And today I can say with complete honesty that it was the best decision I have ever made. I wake up when I want. I make my coffee slowly, enjoying each step. I sit at my table that now has only one chair, mine, and I read the newspaper while I have breakfast. The house is quieter now, but it is not the sad silence of loneliness. It is the calm silence of peace. My days have a new routine that I deeply enjoy. On Mondays, I go to the market. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, to the knitting class at the community center. On Wednesdays, to the prayer group. On Fridays, I do whatever I feel like. And on Saturdays, without fail, Lily comes to visit me. They are my favorite days. Jessica brings her and picks her up. Every time she comes, we greet each other with more warmth. There is not so much tension anymore. Little by little, we are healing. 2 weeks ago, Jessica came for coffee with me. Alone. She told me that things in her marriage are improving, that therapy is helping them. And she told me something that surprised me. Mom, I cut off contact with Shirley. I realized how much poison she put in my head. I felt proud of my daughter. She was growing. She was maturing. Mom, I know we still have a long way to go, but every day I work on being a better person, a better daughter, a better mom for Lily. I took her hands. You are doing well, daughter, and I am proud of you. We cried together that day, but they were tears of healing, of hope, of love being rebuilt. This morning, after watering the roses, I sat in my favorite chair in the backyard. I closed my eyes and felt the warm sun on my face. I listened to the birds singing, and I felt complete. Not because I have everything, but because I finally have myself. My relationship with Jessica is not perfect. Maybe it never will be. But it is real, it is honest, and it is based on mutual respect. Lily continues to be my light. Every Saturday I spend with her is a gift. My house no longer feels big and empty. It feels like the perfect size. I have filled it with things that make me happy. Plants, photos of beautiful moments, books, knitting projects. Choosing myself saved my life. And I do not regret anything. Tomorrow is Saturday. Lily is coming over. We are going to make chocolate chip cookies. And when Jessica comes to pick her up, maybe we will talk for a little longer, or maybe not. And that is okay, because I no longer need things to be perfect. I just need them to be real. I am 68 years old. I have lived a lot. I have suffered a lot. I have loved a lot. And I still have a lot of life ahead of me, a life that I am going to live on my own terms, with my dignity intact, with my peace recovered. I look out the window at my garden. The roses are blooming beautifully. And I think, this is my life now. Blooming, growing, beautiful. Sometimes the greatest beginning is the silence one chooses to keep. We are curious to know how far this story reached. Where are you watching from? Comment below.